Invincible, Season 3, Episode 5. This was supposed to be easy. And I gotta say, for me personally, a bit of a letdown, but considering how great this series has been throughout this, season, I think we were due for a bit of a letdown. Let's talk about everything that happened pertaining to our boy Titan, Mark, and Machine Head throughout this episode. Let's talk about it. All right, guys, right here back with Gantz. Cover all things Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, anime, gaming, Star Wars, and more. This time, Invincible Season 3, Episode 5. And like I said earlier, there's a lot of stuff to get into, so let's go ahead and jump right into the episode. I think this was a good episode thus far, but we spent a lot of time focusing on backstory and lore, which as this series is action packed, fist bumping, we're literally bro fisting each other through some other alien's head in space can be a bit of a letdown sometimes. So we spent a lot of time talking about this episode involving Multi Kate and Multi Paul. They spent a lot of time delving into really what their story was because we left off with Multi Paul kind of hanging out in jail. He's been working for the Order as their hitman for who knows how long, basically since he got out and on the run, because he doesn't really agree with everything that Cecil and his group had as far as training was concerned, as where Multi Kate was kind of more okay with the structure and order and consistency in which it brought into their lives because it delved more into their backstory, where we saw that their father had kind of a mental breakdown or a huge lapse. Couldn't really tell. He didn't seem to have a lot going on. There was drool running on his face. It looked like with the kids at the age that they were being able to, and you couldn't really tell if they were controlling the powers or they weren't controlling their powers. They were kind of cloning themselves at random. And for one parent, because for whatever reason it looked like their mother wasn't in the picture, that ultimately he just folded. He couldn't keep up anymore. He had like two kids that turned into 25. And well, Cheaper by the Two Dozen is not going to be a really powerful movie title. I'm just going to throw that out there. So things weren't really going all that great for them, and we kind of learned that they have a major differentiation in basically how they go about things morally, because Paul sees things what I would say is correctly, where he views it as, yeah, I'm sure I'm offing people, but I'm doing it for more money, more freedom, more flexibility. This kind of works for me. Multi Kate, on the other hand, is like, I don't really end people. And then he's like, don't you? Because it's basically just which side of the coin that you're stuck sitting in, which for some reason she doesn't really seem to understand, even though she's, dating someone like Immortal who can easily point out, basically, because he's basically been here since the dawn of time. He can kind of point her in the correct direction as far as those things are concerned. Then we went over to a character whose name on the live stream I couldn't remember for the life of me, finally returning, the person who was setting out, Battle Beast at will on Mark earlier, the one and only Titan. And we got to see more of a lighthearted perspective of him. We got to see him be a family man and see that he was cleaning up the streets. He was making school areas safe. He was making the neighborhood a good place to be. As where previously the other heads of the Order, the one and only Machine Head, things and crime were just running rampant. There was no safe space, so to speak. There was nowhere you could just go, huddle, be a family, be part of a community, and just have that sense of structure and order in which you're going forward, trying to look ahead and have in, just a basic general sense of society, because basically everything, gets kicked downhill into the bad neighborhoods and no one looks out for them. Titan, on the other hand, is a man who's all about the community, making sure every neighborhood is loved, protected, and safe for the most part. Sure, he's still moving business and sure, things still happen, but it's on such a small scale that it's not going to cause great upheaval in the community, put a tons of people in danger. And ultimately, he wants the streets to be safe because it's where his daughter goes to school. He wants to make sure that she's taken care of, she's safe, she's protected. She can go get A's on her math test and can go sell her Girl Scout cookies or whatever company's cookies that she was promoting at that time in her universe to go and do and sell out and make him proud, as traditional parent daughter relationship could be. So more or less we learned a lot about Titan, and we see that his business dealings are coming back into play because the Order wants Multi Paul broken out of jail yesterday. They're not really happy with the way situations played out. And we have Lee Yu and his gargantuan 8 foot tall, 700-pound bodyguard right behind him, who really doesn't seem to speak much. But when you're that big, do you really need to talk? You just take one look at Andre the Giant and go, you know what? I ain't messing with that. I understand it. No beef on site for that. And Lee Yu says point blank to Titan, look, break my guy out, or I'll break your daughter right in front of you. So things got pretty hot and heated very, very quickly because Titan is like, you crossed the line. I don't do business this way. Weird line to say when you're running a super secret top, like evil crime society, that there's apparently a line. Like, can you imagine Doctor Doom going out there saying, there's a line and you've crossed it? Like, that'd be wild. But again, that line would probably be somewhere involving Latveria, but that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother time. The Order, in essence, wants their guy back. Titan is not trying to pull extra heat on him because Mark, because of his lovely girlfriend Adam Eve, has got a new job because they're trying to pick up that apartment that they're talking about last episode. They're kind of pushing the pedal to the metal there, trying to get, a place of their own so they can, be a couple of college kids and, do some stuff. You know what I mean? So more or less, they were just trying to work on, making that happen. And while that's going on, Rex is trying to make things happen romantically with his girl. He spent time picking up how to learn how to cook. He dropped subtle hints. He left a note at his girl's door. A lovely, what looks like crayon or colored pencil drawing. I wasn't really too sure of them having dinner together. She picks up on the hint, comes down. He's made a lovely steak dinner for her, and he was able to put his hand on top of hers. They were laughing, joking, having a good time. They stole a bottle of wine from the immortal. Everyone's having a good time. Unfortunately, the wine is basically the oldest thing that is still on this earth, so it was pretty rank and not really all that good for everybody else. But then we pick up back with the episode where we have the one and only Titan talk to Mark, be like, look, I you need to help me out on this one. He shows him the neighborhood, how he's really improved everything, how he's made society better for everybody there, people safer. Mark not really buying what's going on because last time he had an agreement with Titan, things kind of backfired. Battle Beast kind of ripped off his face. It was a whole situation where things got very out of hand very quickly. So they don't really come to terms on anything. And then we see that Titan and goes to visit Machine Head and kind of have like a conversation where Machine Head is like laughing at him. He's like, Liu is gonna get you. There's nothing to be done about this. I'm gonna find my way out of here. It's gonna be on your head. Well, things turn out continue to escalate, and Liu eventually activates his dragon thing. We have Isotope betray, and I'm using my air quotes here, Titan, and ultimately things play out to where when Liu decides to activate his dragon powers, his body goes limp, hence why he has the 7 foot tall behemoth of a man as his bodyguard. The dragon goes to the prison to go try and break out, multi-Paul, Adam, Eve, and Mark go do their thing because they're on retainer over there. That's how they're paying the bills, trying to, afford that apartment with, Invincible ink and all that good stuff. They need to workshop that name maybe a little bit more. But again, Mark can't set up an email. So that's a whole nother bag for them to have to worry about. All the fighting breaks out. Adam Eve kind of breaks up some of the situation where she's able to start keeping the inmates back in their cells because the dragon, of course, lands directly in the heart of the prison, destroying so many things going on in the background, where Mark is basically having his teeth kicked in because this dragon, even if you punch a hole in it, it heals. This is a fantasy universe creature. It's not even necessarily from this realm of existence. It's powerful. So even being a Viltrumite, it turns out there's certain things you just can't punch your way through. And well, unless you get down directly to Liu's physical body, not much to be done. Luckily for our heroes, though, Machine Head happened to see that there was a jailbreak, saw a hole and everything, popped out, decided to dap himself up, get all nice and dressed up, went and visited Liu's physical body, had Isotope go ahead and misplace the bodyguard, and well, he put some steel directly, well, not steel, he put he put a brand new hole inside Liu's head. Let's put it that way. So Liu was incapacitated, thus saving Mark and all of our heroes. And Machine Head was able to regain control as he was able to take the new seat on the head of the most useless order in the history of existence. Seriously, did anybody else talk at that meeting? There was like 8 people, all with very distinct looks, backgrounds, outfits, the whole kit and caboodle. No one said anything. It was literally Machine Head talking to Titan at that moment, who had been thrown through a window earlier, but Titan, being the resourceful businessman that he is, managed to survive. Thus, he literally proposed to Machine Head, hey, leave my city alone. You can have all my assets, everything, all my other ventures, everything going on outside of the city. Just leave me and my own alone. Machine Head agrees, but also gives a very clear directive. If you happen to cross me or I happen to change my mind, I'm going to take a bath with your family in their blood. Sounds like a great guy. Probably should invite him over for Thanksgiving dinner, though I think things will get a little bit weird. And we end the episode in a even more insane situation where we have the bodyguard of Liu, who somehow survived his fall from a couple thousand feet up in the air from Isotope's drop, to not only resurrect Liu, but have the dragon like reappear. So I think the head of the order seat is not officially filled for the long term. And this was considered a filler episode for Invincible. Just so we're clear, so great stuff, but probably the worst episode thus far of the season. I still enjoyed it, as you can clearly tell. What I would thoroughly enjoy is you hitting that lovely subscribe button, golden logo in the bottom right corner, or the red subscription box below. It's free and it lets YouTube know you're interested in this style of content, as does a like button, which will suggest other videos such as ours for you to go ahead and enjoy. I'm Brent for Geek Variants, as always, repping for our Rex Flex. I'll see you in the next episode.